yesterday. What I do is I am not organized, and I say that out loud, so now it's going to manifest more, but I have not been in the past organized. And so I show up when I show up. And typically it's when you teach me that I need to have something to say. And so you're going to see live videos on this page for those of you who are new to this page. And I don't do a Monday at 1 o'clock call or a Tuesday at 3 o'clock call or anything like that. I show up when I feel like it. And that seems to serve my team best. And it seems to serve me best and my family. So thank you for joining me today. And hello to those of you who have joined me. How is your day today? How are we doing? It's the middle of the week. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about today is so important, okay? And it's coming up a lot this week. And so I want to share my heart with you and what we are going to, and what you're going to do about this, okay? So for those of you who can't let go of people on your team who are no longer doing this as a business, what do you do, okay? And remind me to plug in my computer because my computer is going to die. Also very typical of me. If I can do this, you can do this. Okay, so this seems to be my theme. I think I should just have a whole webinar that says this, like a whole YouTube topic. If I can do this, anyone can. So, why you can't let go of those who aren't builders anymore. I'm going to go back and forth, so I don't know if you can see me when I do this. I think you can. Let me just go. Actually, I can just do this. Hang on. Hang on, everyone. Hang on. So, actually, I'm going to, since I'm already lagging and doing something, I'm going to plug my computer in because I know that I'll get into this and I'll be all like into the video and forget. So, for those of you who are doing webinars, don't forget to plug in your computer. Oh, let's try this again and done. Okay. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for realizing that I'm nobody special. You can do this too. Okay, so the first reason that you have a hard time with letting people go is because you've invested too many people, right? So let's just say that you've been doing this for a few years. For those of you who are new, listen up because you don't want to make these mistakes. But this is what you've done. You've invested too many people under that leg. So you didn't test them before you came on, or you didn't have anywhere else to put them, so you placed them on your front line. And then you're like, okay, they said that they were going to do this as a business, so I'm going to place this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person under them, and I'm going to enable this person, and I'm going to place all of these people under them and take care of them, and just, and this person either will or won't do this as a business. It's up to you. But typically when I place, just so you know, when I place somebody underneath someone, I only do one leg. I don't do here, here, here to get my power of 3 or anything like that. I do one leg and I keep enrollment of that person, and then I create a team under them. And so I'm just creating. But there's some of you, and I have this too, like in my business, where there is just too many people under a leg that you've invested. Okay, so here's the other reason. You've invested too much energy, right? And you and I both know the energy that you can place into a team. You've loved on them. You've shown up for them. You try to create the best leadership that's possible. And so for those of you who have an upline who have been showing up, but maybe even for you, they show up the wrong way for you, and that's not their fault. We're all just trying to do the best that we can, all of us. And us leaders are not perfect. We don't come into this business, most of us, with a business degree knowing how to lead people. And if we do have a business degree, that doesn't actually teach you how to lead people. And so we're leading people wrong all day long. And we're just trying to do the best that we can based on the information that has been given to us. But now for those of you who have invested energy into your team and it's going all wonky and you've invested years and years and years, maybe even money, that's the third thing, you've invested money. Okay, so you've invested energy, you've invested money, right? So how much money can you think, like, I can't tell you how much money I've invested into some of my teams. And so I don't want to let that go. I don't want to see that crumble. And, you know, I'll show up and I'll mess up, and then I'll come back and I'll try to fix it, and then I'll mess up again, and then I'll try to fix it, and then I'll mess up again, you know. But I've invested a lot of money into this. And so that's another reason that you don't want to let go. And the third reason, or the fourth reason that you can't let go of those who aren't builders anymore, is you've invested too much time, right? So let's go through it. You've invested too many people under their leg. You've invested too much energy. You've invested too much money. You've invested too much time. And because of that, you now are operating in a lot of fear, right? So there's a lot of fear going on inside of you, because what I would say, and what Elise Chedevi would say, is if you have done all, like, now you want to you're showing up again. You have all this new energy. You're doing the daily mentor calls. You're trying to find out who on your team is committed and capable, which is another, if you look at my placements video, you'll see that. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, nobody's committed and capable. I've got some committed but not capable, some capable but not committed. What do I do? Well, there's two things you can do. You can tap root, which means you can find people who are, and again, I've talked all about this in the placement, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. You can see if somebody wants to give away enrollment, so that's another thing that you can do. Or you can let them go altogether. And here, to me, if you can't taproot, which again, taprooting just means, like, who else wants to do this? And if you're following the daily mentor calls, which all of you should, then you understand what I mean by taprooting. If you don't know what I mean, do the daily mentor program. And so what else can you do? Well, you kind of have to go find some new energy. Okay. And what I mean by that, some fresh energy that's going to breathe life into you again. Because if your energy is up here and you've got this, like, brand new life, and you're doing the daily mentor calls and you're just like, this is so fun, la, da, 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 da. Well, then all of a sudden you come back to these old teams and you're like, they're in low vibration. Maybe they're not. Maybe they just don't want to do this. Maybe they're in high vibration because they are capable, but they're not committed. That's okay. Let them, right? That's just where they are. So they could be high vibration over here. But if you're trying to do this business, right? And so you're in high vibration and they're over here in high vibration, but you keep missing each other. It's like clapping your hands and missing each other. I've heard that from Sandy with a different analogy, but that's what you're doing. You're trying to clap hands with people who don't want to do this as a business with you. And so that puts you in low vibration because you're having expectations of somebody who doesn't even want to do this as a business. The other type of person is somebody who was a builder and now they're a sharer. And what I mean by sharer is somebody who's not really intentionally growing this. They could be managing their team, but that's not a builder. That's a sharer who's sharing education. They're sharing intention, maybe they're sharing the product even sometimes, but they're not intentionally growing this business. So they're not building. How can you be a builder if you're not building? And you can have the greatest intentions of sharing education with your team. You can have the greatest intentions of sharing your heart, sharing even the product. But if you're not intentionally building, like if I took like cubes, like Lego, and all I wanted to do was make sure that nobody touched my business, or nobody, like, let's just say that I built a house out of Lego. This is really key. Listen up, you guys. I'm building a house out of Lego, and now I just want to make sure nobody's touching it. Don't touch my house. Make sure my siblings aren't around to, like, destroy my house, or the dog doesn't come around to step on it. I want to make sure that it looks shiny, so I'm dusting it off. I'm making sure that it's all on nice display, right? That's not building your business. That's maintaining. You are not a builder if you're maintaining. And so what do you do if you have maintainers and not builders? Okay. And again, they're not builders. So they would be your elites, right? That's your elite. You can't hit presidential diamond with elites. You can't hit diamond with elite. You can't hit diamonds with elites. You can't succeed in this business with sharers, okay? And so we talked about this in the placement. And my placements live video, I did a live before on placements. Go watch that video. It's too important to miss. You cannot build this business unless you have people who are inviting business builders into it. You can have great customers, you can have great sharers, but you can't be successful in this without builders. And so you've got to make a shift. And so what do you do? And so for those of you who just joined, I talked about why are you not letting them go? And so now we're talking about fear. And so in the fear aspect of this, what do you fear? Why can't you let them go? And the reason is because let's just say that you've been doing this 2 years, right? And things aren't happening for you. You're not diamond yet. And you could be diamond in 2 years if you follow the Elise Chedevy program. And to a T, I'm saying, right? That's how I hit diamond, was Elise Chedevy. And now she's kind of she's redone her daily mentor calls, so it matches more when I went to the elite retreat. So if you had been doing this for 2 years and you're not yet a diamond, or you're struggling, and you're looking at silvers, because you need 4 silvers to be a diamond, right? Let's just even platinum or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, I built so much into them. And the 4 things that I talked about in the beginning of this business, you've invested a lot of time, money, energy. You've invested a lot of people in their team. And you've spent 2 years doing that. And they're not even a silver yet. Let me tell you what you're holding on to, and it's fear. Hi, Marina. Nadia, letting go is hard, but it's helpful to heal the potentialitis. Yeah. But it's more than that, because potentialitis is real. You're holding on and hoping, right? You got to let go of that potentialitis. Don't do that anymore, you guys. And here's what you need to hear from me. You are not giving up on anybody. You're not giving up on someone because you are finding a fresh team. I'm going to repeat that, because a lot of you who are the team that people are finding fresh energy and they're moving on, they're not moving on from you. As a mom, I recognize this very clearly. And if I haven't helped you be independent, then you might be holding on to your mom still, right? So what I do is when I have somebody new come in, they're my customers first. And then I'd help them become sharers. So now they're like toddlers, maybe preteens, and then they become builders. And then I would say builders, maybe the preteens, and I still can't let them independent. They're still not independent as new baby builders, right? And then they become builders, and now they're teenagers and they know it all, right? So now they're solid builders and they're like, I know it all. Leave me alone. They may even be, you know what? They may not be teenagers until they become leaders, which is gold and above. But there's some people who they mature really fast in some ways, and so they just think, I don't need anybody. I don't need Elise Chedevy's program. What? I know how to do this. I don't need a program. But they're still not solid diamonds. If they're not solid diamonds and they think they know it all, because they know maybe a few things, and they're right, they do know some things that even their moms don't, that doesn't mean that they know how to succeed just because they know things that mom doesn't, right? So you see this in your business. And so where was I going with this? I don't remember. So I'm moving on. But that's something that you need to know, that you just got to move. And this is what it was. It was like, you're not letting these go. My teenagers, they're so independent now. They're like, Mom, I don't even want to talk to you right now. What do you know? You think you know it all, Mom. I hear that quite often in my house. You think you know everything. I'm like, no, but I'm just my brain's a little bit more developed. That's all. And I can see ahead of you. And I don't want you to go to this party until 2:00 in the morning. No, it's going to be fine. Okay, I digress. And so what you need to know as a builder, that when I'm moving on to something new, and it's not because I think you're independent, but once you're in your 20s, you've got to leave the nest, right? And you have to leave the nest in such a way that I actually have to let go of you, and I have to surrender, and I have to let you fall, right? And so what kind of a mom would I be if you're 32 and still living at home? What kind of a mom would I be then? And I'm sorry for those of you who have 32-year-olds living at home. That's not meant to offend anyone. And if you're 32 living at home, oh boy, I'm not meaning to offend you. Okay, but you get what I'm saying here. Don't be offended when we find fresh blood. When we find fresh blood is so terrible, but it's just the funny thing that we use. When we find fresh energy, it doesn't mean that we don't love you equally, right? And it's the same thing with let's just put it this way. when I had my firstborn, I had to do different things with him than I had to do with the nextborn. And then by the time I had my thirdborn, now I have mine really close, but when I had my thirdborn, they could walk on their own, right? So I didn't have to walk with them anymore. But my baby, I had to carry. And so with any fresh new energy that comes into my business, I have to carry them for a little bit, which means I can't spend as much time holding you. And some people will get offended by that. But let me just share this. It's not our job to hold on to people's inability to manage their emotions. Oh, can I repeat that? It's not our job to hold on to people's inability to handle their emotions. Okay? Now, I don't want you to be insensitive with this. I want you to know that when we have people in our teams that are, feeling emotionally heightened, whether it's anger or sadness, you can be there and be present and understand their emotions without making them feel misunderstood, right? Because there still is a reason for it. We don't just say, oh, this is your emotions. This is you, you can't handle your own emotions. This has nothing to do with me. Well, anytime somebody comes to me with an emotion and I want to talk about this today, I want to be present with that. And so we'll talk about that after. Okay, so back to the fear part of why you don't want to let them go, because you've spent 2 years trying to help them hit silver so that they can succeed, you can succeed, and it's a win-win, and their people underneath them can succeed. So it's a win-win-win, which is like what? This is amazing. But if it's not happening and you've spent 2 years trying to help them hit silver and they're not, then guess what? Then you're going to think, if I let them go, I have to spend another 2 years helping somebody hit silver and I'd have no guarantees. Okay, I'm going to repeat that because it's the most important part of this whole live today. You have helped somebody, tried to help them reach the rank of silver. Maybe they've reached it and then they've fallen for whatever reason. And now you're struggling to hit diamond because you haven't yet found somebody who wants to reach silver or knows how to, or whatever the case. And maybe they blame you, but I've already talked about that. We're going to let that go. Actually, we're going to talk about that later too. And now all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, I have to spend another 2 years. But here's what I want to say to you. Listen really, really clearly to me right now. What if it didn't take another 2 years? What if the only reason that it did take 2 years and you still haven't helped them reach the rank of silver is because you didn't have a process like the daily mentor call? What if? What if that's the truth, right? And what if you knew that if only you took 50 days to listen to the daily mentor calls, and then the 10 days so let's just say 2 months. What if you took 2 months, right? And while you're doing it, you're still the first 14 days are key, but you're taking action after those first 14 days. I tell people, do 14 days of the daily mentor call, study it, know it like the back of your hand, right? And then act. Don't act until you've studied the 14 days. If you are here and you're new, study the 14 days, memorize those scripts, do what she says to do, and then act. Don't launch until you've done that. For those of you who are struggling to get anybody at classes, listen and study the first 14 days to a T. You're not going to lose yourself if you do her scripts and you say the things that she says. That's not losing yourself. Promise you, losing yourself is a whole other bag of tricks. You can't lose your soul because you say a script. 14 days, right? And then you launch. And then what if you found somebody, I don't know, like me? What if you found another Donna Taves? What if you knew that at the end of those 14 days, you sampled me? You invited me to a class. How much fear would you now have of letting go of somebody who has struggled to hit elite and surrender somebody who has struggled to hit premier after 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? What if you found someone like me who had a son, who needed doTERRA, who's tried other oils, and they didn't work. And so she dismissed oils altogether. And what if you knew that you could change her life? And what if you knew that you could change her son's life? And what if she was skeptical? And what if she had to do some research? And what if the first thing that she Googled was doTERRA scam? And what if she just needed some time? And what if her husband didn't support her? What if you sent love, and what if you owned the power that you would find her? And maybe it wasn't in the person that you found in the last 5, but what if she was one of the next 5? And what if you loved her unconditionally and you surrendered her and you didn't hold on to fear? But what if she was that next person you sampled? Would you then fear letting go? Would you then fear of letting go of that person who took 2 years to hit elite? Would you then fear letting go of that person who claimed that she would do it as a business but no longer wants to do it as a business? Would you then fear bringing up a whole new leg? What if you found another Kimberly Malusis, Holly Lowe, Marie Kim, Jane Schweitzer? What if you found another Jen Bittner or Amanda Rahija, or I could go on and on and on, Megan Spolstra? What if they were somebody that you found next? Would you then fear of putting a whole new leg up and building into a new energy and finding new energy of somebody that wanted to align with you and somebody who wanted to do this with all of their heart? And you enjoyed this once again, because you haven't enjoyed this for so long, because all of your time, all of your energy, all of your money has been poured into people who just don't want to show up. And that's okay for them. You have no expectations on them. But when you place expectations on people who won't even call you back, who won't even text you, you lower your vibration with them because you hold on to their energy. But what if you found somebody who wanted to change their lives in this way? Would you then fear? Because I have a sneaky suspicion that you would no longer fear. You would no longer be afraid. And you would go out there looking for that next person because you knew that she was out there just like I was. And you would change her life. And you would change your son's life. And she would never have to fear again. Not because maybe bad things don't happen, but because she had a tool that made her feel empowered, that made her feel safe, that made her feel free. Because I know there's another one of me waiting out there. And they're waiting for you, and they're your voice. So don't be afraid. I don't know what I would do without doTERRA, and I think about that every single day of my life when I look at my son. You know, when he's eating like crap right now because he's a teenager. And I think about him, and I think about all the things that he's doing that I couldn't, because I have no control anymore. And so he's doing things that made me scared, and I no longer am afraid because I have doTERRA. And I know that whatever happens, that this business, that even the people that I invite into this business have bumped up against triggers of my past that have made me fear, that have made me angry, that have made me wonder like, can I do this another day? And then I realized, oh my gosh, every single person who has been invited into this business have been a gift to me. And that includes those of you who decide no longer to do this as a business. I love you. You have been brought into my life as a gift. And it's not my job to set you free. It's yours. It's my job to invite you to something that is so powerful and yet sometimes so scary. But every single person who comes into our lives is a gift. And we can see it like that, or we can see them as the reason for our failure. We can see it as a gift, or we can see them as a reason that I'm spending so much time and energy in fear and in anger and in sadness and in disappointment and in not good enough, when all the while they're just whispers. Every single one of them, they're whispers of healing that we need to do as little girls and little guys, right? So I think I'm going to end it there because there was so much more I want to talk about, but this has come through for me as something you all need to hear. And so I hope that you can listen to this every single day and know that what has happened in the past is not your future in this business. And you can tweak. It's just a tweak. It's just a little tweaking here and there. That's what Elise is offering us. And keeping it simple. We make this so complicated. Just keep it simple. I hope this helped you guys today. It's been on my heart for a while, and today was the day that it finally had to come out. So, yeah. Go love your team unconditionally. And have gratitude for this day. So much love for you.